Hi again, Matt Noyes, pattern predictions. Looking out at the next 14 days, it's one thing to get the 14-day forecast on our app on your cell phone, right? But the thing is, do you really get an understanding for, all right, this is what might change in this part, this is what we think is pretty set in stone? You don't, right? It's just numbers. And that has been part of the problem with just apps, right? Is they just give you the numbers. So my hope here in these videos is to give you the context in what's driving the 14-day forecast. I oftentimes start with the jet stream, and there's a good reason for that, right? Because this is really what controls the overall pattern of the weather. The jet stream, the fast river of air high in the sky that separates cool air to the north from warm to the south. We've had a big dip in the jet stream that's been over us to start out the week on this Monday as I'm recording this. That is an upper level storm that's been with us with cold air. But notice it midweek this week. There's no upper level storm over us yet. The chance of showers and storms is there. Why? Because we get more in the way of surface-based humidity and warmth, and there is a jet stream level disturbance here. You can see the increase in wind speed over Montreal that's associated with the disturbance that comes through and drives a surface cold front through us on Wednesday that raises the risk of showers and storms. Behind that surface cold front, yes, there is still what we call troughing, still a dip in the jet stream winds. But do you notice where the fastest jet stream winds are? When you get across the northern tier of the United States, you see on the north side of this, remember, separating cool air to the north from warm to the south, this is where we've got a kind of wealth of cool air building up in central Canada as we get out toward next weekend. That doesn't open up lock, stock, and barrel to us. As a matter of fact, out ahead of it, we get some warmth that will build into the upcoming weekend. And with that warmth that builds, an increased chance of showers, we think particularly on Saturday as the jet stream begins to near us again, although the timing on that may be a little flexible. If that disturbance drops in more on Sunday, you may see the chance of showers shifting a little bit more to Sunday. Right now, Saturday looks like the most likely day. What's interesting to me is by the middle of next week, you've got a pretty good dip in the jet stream. You've got a northwesterly flow coming in aloft. That is going to encourage some rather deep, cool, and dry air to come in, which means middle of next week actually may bring some of the coolest mornings that we've seen so far in the early season. And then notice by the end of the 14-day period, my goodness, you've got a southerly wind setup. And we've talked about this before, which is, yeah, that opens the door to warmth, but you have to be really careful. I think it was, 2 weeks ago in pattern predictions, I told you just have to be careful because that does open the door to the tropics and any disturbances will be down there, which we'll look at the tropics here in just a second. In terms of what's going on at the surface, notice a big dome of high pressure. The black lines are lines of equal pressure. We call them isobars, barometric pressure. And then I've put the coloring on here for the temperatures. Well, there's a good amount of warmth that builds through midweek this week across the eastern two-thirds of the country, and that's what we get into on Wednesday. Humidity peaks, but a cold front comes in, showers and storms break out, fall air comes in for the end of the week, eases for the weekend, and this is the middle of next week. Notice what I mean about, as we get into, let's say, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, that's some of the coolest, driest air that we've had so far this season. So let me show you how it kind of all shakes out. We'll start out with what's going on in terms of the high temperatures, the buildup that comes through Wednesday with the humidity. The cold front comes in late Wednesday, showers and thunderstorms, drives in one shot of fall air, which relaxes for the weekend, and then drives in another shot of fall air that comes in after that. And that's what brings that chance of some real cool overnights too. And you know where that shows up? The dew point temperature. A lot of times you could say, well, if conditions are perfect, clear skies, light wind, you may be able to cool nighttime temperatures all the way to the dew point. I doubt that we're going to drop as a New England average to 40 at the middle of next week, but I bet you're going to find a number of spots you're going to find temperatures in the 40s, and some of the valleys in the north by middle of next week may have a couple of 30s that show up in those sheltered valleys. We're also getting to a time of the year where it's more defined in terms of your shower chance. We know this week, Monday, Wednesday, and probably Saturday. The only thing I would say on that is that's all about some of the timing as we look at new warmth and moisture that comes into the atmosphere. And so that means if it is slightly delayed into Sunday, then that may increase the chance of showers Sunday. But this is the way we see it right now. Cold front comes through most likely on Monday. And then you can see that real drop that takes place after that. So you can feel fairly secure that at the middle of next week, that cooler, drier air is very likely to build in for us. Okay, meanwhile, out in the tropics, I promised you an update. This is the enhanced infrared satellite imagery, and you can see showers and thunderstorms along what we call the intertropical convergence zone. This is an area where the wind comes together near the equator. You can almost think of it like the thermal equator as it kind of continues to waver. But really, you don't get tropical storm development along the ITCZ, as it's called. We also have a lot of dry air and some sinking air in place across a lot of the rest of the Atlantic. The Saharan dust is in here, which just represents more in the way of dry air that's still present. and still over the coming days blowing off the Saharan desert. And that's why there really doesn't appear to be a whole lot in terms of activity coming, especially this upcoming week out across the tropical Atlantic. Actually, if you measure favorability with wind shear and dry air, there's not very favorable conditions near shore either. So it doesn't look to be a real concern for development here over the next at least week or so. Meanwhile, if you want to get the 14-day for your location and kind of watch how the rain chances change as those disturbances and the timing get worked out, grab the app. Noyes is 1 degree outside weather. You can find that on the App Store or Google Play. I hope you enjoy this deeper dive. The idea is to give you context behind the numbers that you see in the app. Look forward to seeing you again with another video update in just a little bit.